Put your faith in the light.
Hello guys, welcome to another one of my videos. This is Lightblade, and well guys, in this one we have a ton of news for Dragonflight Season 4 Mythic Plus. There is a huge list of mostly nerfs that Blizzard is doing to the original lineup of the Dragonflight dungeons, which we all remembered were extremely overtuned at the start of the expansion. You know, I still have nightmares with Ruby Life Pulse. Like that place is hell. Anyways, let's start with the changes. Okay, so for Halls of Infusion, we have dungeon checkpoint added after defeating the Gulping Goliath. So after you kill the big frog, you are going to have a checkpoint there. So if you wipe further down the dungeon, you don't have to run from the literal start of the dungeon, you know, like we did in the past, which was extremely annoying and made the wipes in this place like unrecoverable. Next up, we have normalized the spawn rate of Crashing Tsunami during the Gauntlet. That's the big wave that spawns, and if you get bopped by it, you probably die on a high level key, or you are close to dead, you know. So yeah, normalizing the spawn rate of that thing is going to make that place a bit more manageable. After that is Containment Apparatus Containment Beam damage has been reduced by 42%. Oh, good lord. Yeah, this is massive, because those balls that they do the mean beam, you know, are super annoying. They just nuke everyone down. Sometimes they just focus down a single person. If you get like 2 or 3 beams on you, you just insta die. So these were especially annoying on fortified weeks. Now they're being nerfed by 42%, which should make it more manageable. Okay, after that we have the Primalist Gale Singer. So this guy had its Wind Buffet removed and Thunderstorm removed. If I remember correctly, those abilities were just targeted to players. There was very little counterplay, you just had to take the damage. Now, instead of those abilities, he uses Thunderstrike. Inflicts nature damage to all players within 7 yards of impact. So I guess this is going to bring a bit more counterplay, because the new ability is just, I guess, a small swirly on the ground, so you just have to dodge it. After that, we have the Primalist Earthshaker Rumbling Earth's rim visual will no longer clip into terrain. This was especially annoying if you moved around the big torrent that did the stun, and you happen to move in close to a wall or a rock or something. Sometimes the big circle didn't appear correctly and you got stunned, and you probably just insta died on a high level key because it does a ton of damage. Okay, so after that we have encounters. Watcher Iridius. So this is the first boss, you know, the big Titan guy. Titanic Fist now has a visual during cast. That's always nice, you know, some extra visual clarity. Power Overload now has a rim visual around the afflicted player, so now you know how big the circle of the lightning is going to be after you get the spell, you know. After that we have Power Field now gradually grows to its full size. So I guess it starts smaller and now grows, you know, instead of just being huge and dropping huge. Okay, Caging the Unyielding added rim visuals to the ice boulders that will trigger avalanche. Okay, this is huge because a lot of people had problems looking at which was the cracked ice, you know. So when the boss did its abilities, if it hit one of the ice shards, the ice would crack, and there was a very small crack on the top that you could see it. But if you were not paying attention, or well, a lot of things happen in that fight, so sometimes you didn't see it. Now we have a visual effect that tells you that that boulder is going to break after she does his next AoE ice ability, which is really good. Now we have Primal Tsunami. So this is a huge change. The boss is only going to do his intermission phase once at 50% health and is no longer bound by energy. So that means that you're no longer going to slog through this phase, to this intermission phase, like 3 times on tyrannical keys. This is an incredible change for House of Infusion, and I think this change alone makes this key like a lot more tolerable and playable this season. Now let's go to Azure Vaults. Okay, in Azure Vaults we have increased the timer by 1 minute. Yeah, this is pretty good. This place was kind of long, unless you did some cheese strategies like jumping through the rings, you know, and going to the other parts. There was a lot of those strategies that were going on to time this place, because the timer was so cutthroat. Okay, after that, Crystal Fury. This is the big rock elementals. Piercing Shard now has a precast visual. Like I said, visual clarity is always nice. You can see now where it's going to hit. Impact area has been reduced. Okay, so the hit box is a bit smaller of the ability. That's better if you have to dodge the thing. Okay, Conjure, Lasher, Mystic Vapors now will be cast less frequently. This is pretty good. Those flower thingies like spam cast their ability. Even though it was kickable, you normally pulled like 8 to 9 of these little flower thingies, and if you didn't have like AoE, CC or anything like that, it was really annoying to just get pelted by those little casts, you know. So, one cast won't kill you, but like let's say 3 cast on you, you probably will die. Remember, these are also single target abilities. As Red Paladins, we are pretty vulnerable to single target bolt damage, so yeah, this is really nice to have, less kicks needed. Arcane Tender, Erratic Growth, cast time being increased to 3.5 seconds, it was 2.5 seconds. So this is the beam that the big tree, the trend does to someone, and then if you don't kick it, the person becomes a tree, so you get stunned by it a long time. So now that the cast time is longer, so you have more time to like kick the thing, you know. It wasn't I think a big problem before, but very nice to get some nerfs on it. After that, we got Unstable Curator. Heavy Tome will now be cast less frequently. That's the big arcane elemental that drops like huge circles on the ground, so that's going to be cast less frequently. Pretty nice because there's so many stuff that's in the ground in that place, you know, so nice to have some visual clarity there. Draconid Breaker, this is the big like dragon guy, the one that does the charge. His shoulder slam knockback is being removed, so it no longer knocks you back, which is I guess fine, you know. It never bothered me because you normally fight that guy like close to a wall, so you don't get knocked down. Okay, but now it inflicts physical damage and increases physical damage taken by 10%. That's actually a buff on this thing. So if you get hit by the Sword Slam twice in a row, you are probably going to die because of that physical damage taken. And the last change is it will be cast less frequently. So I don't know where they're going with this change. So if it's going to cast less frequently, maybe it's not going to cast when you have the 10% damage debuff. It's going to maybe fade. I don't know, weird change, but I'll take it, you know. Next up, we have encounters, the bosses. Laymore, Erupting Fissures now follows the current target, so now it's going to follow the tank whenever it's doing this ability. It's the frontal. Azure Blade, reduce the frequency of periodic damage from overwhelming energy to every 2.5 seconds was every 2. So when you are going to the phase where the boss is immune in the middle, you have to kill the little elemental thingies, the 4 things that she spawns. You're going to take less damage from this thing because it did a ton of damage. There was balls flying everywhere. It was pretty hectic fight. This is going to make it a bit easier. Umber's Golem. Oppressive Miasma removed the mythic difficulty. Oh, this is huge. Before, you really were happy to be either a Death Knight or a Paladin because you had freedom and you could actually move around this boss, because if you didn't, you got slowed so hard. It was so annoying for certain classes to fight this boss. So now that's gone and everyone can do it. You know, you no longer need freedom. That's pretty good. Crystallize now pulses arcane damage while the crystal is shielded. This is new, and so instead of having the miasma, now whenever the boss does his throws a bunch of crystals, there's going to be a big one, and when the shield is on, it's just going to pull some damage, you know. But normally this shouldn't matter too much because you are always focusing down that big crystal first. Also, with the miasma reduced, you can actually move around to kill those damn crystals, you know. Okay, next up we have Crackling Vortex now has a larger movement radius. So that's the balls that spin around and do damage. I guess they're going to move in a wider circle radius. That's kind of whatever. You always dodge them anyways. Okay, let's go now to Brackenhide Hollow. Okay, here we have a change to the Rotbow Stalker. It's now named Rotbow Ranger. Weird change, whatever. Shoot now has a recast of 6 seconds. This is really good because this guy used to just perma-cast that thing, without a cooldown. It did a ton of damage, you know. So now having the cooldown on that ability is good. Maybe now you can actually play this mob, but it's still kind of sketchy, you know. Before you normally didn't play this guy because the dogs, you know, there's dogs, there's bears, any animal that was close to this boss, whenever he did the disease meat, followed someone, and if you didn't have a bob or an immunity, that guy was dead, you know. the debuff lasted so long that the guy that got marked always died. So maybe you still don't play it. Normally you only pull this guy if you ninja pulled him. Anyways, diseased meat renamed to rotten meat, and now it's a poison. Oh, that's really good. That's what I was referring to. Now you can actually play it, because whenever someone is marked by the meat, you no longer need to like hard immunity that person or bop them or whatever. You can just dispel the thing, and the dogs don't follow them. Pretty good. Like that change. Maybe this is playable now. Next up, we have Brackenhide Shaper. Summon Lashers has been. Oh, boo! Boo to that man! Lashers were a big part of our pad damage in Brackenhide Hollow. I'm sad to those little flowers did not much, you know. They did a bleed, but you know, it's pad damage. Anyways, they're being removed. Touch of Decay has also been removed. I think this is just something that happened to the main target of these guys. So normally the tank got. I think it's the reduction of haste of this mob. I'm not sure. Or if it's not that, I think it's just damage that they did on the tank. Anyways, it's no longer there. The mob does basically nothing. Okay, next up we have Stingbreath. This is the big gnoll that is like the mini boss that's in that rock bridge. So violent whirlwind radius has been reduced to 6 yards, was 7 yards. Oh, that's pretty good. We can actually hit it from outside of the circle as Red Palace, because we have that talent that gives us like long arms. Pretty good. Stingbreath now locks phasing after targeting a player. Oh, this is good. Now there's counterplay when he does the breath, you know. You know who's targeted, you can move away from it, and has a visual wall casting. Oh, that's pretty good. That gives a lot of time for people to move, because you normally didn't play this guy. It was just a huge problem, because if he like did the breath on your tank, he got disoriented, and then he just went and just smacked someone else, and it was very messy. You know, you never played this guy. You try to skip it with a Warlock Gate, or you try to skip it with a Evoker that could carry you to the other side. Okay, after that we have Gutstabber Withering Poison has been removed. Bracken War Scourge Bloody Bite has been removed. Claw Fighter Bloody Bite has been removed. DK Speaker Rot Chanting Totem has been. Oh, this is really good. There's so many annoying like random damage that happened on those packs that has been removed. Now those packs are pretty chill, you know, the first packs of Brackenhide Hollow, and especially the Totem one. The Totem one was really annoying, because that little thingy doesn't like. I think it didn't take like AoE damage or something, because you had to like single target down the stupid Totem all the time, and it took away so much haste that it was really annoying, you know. And if you had the poison debuff, you had to be dispelling there using your globals of the spells instead of doing damage. So this makes this place a lot more playable, you know. Brackenhide Hollow, pretty chill key now, I think. Okay, next let's go to the encounter. So Hawksclaw Warbound. So this is the first boss. Predatory instance haste bonus has been reduced to 5%. It was 10%. Okay, that's pretty good. Less auto attacks. They auto attack slower. Mark for Butchery's damage frequency has been increased to 1 second, was 0.5 seconds. Oh, this is really good. This is going to be great for whenever a Clothy gets targeted by Mark for Butchery. He's not going to insta die, you know. You have more time to apply, let's say, a pop or sack or something, or they can just like defensive themselves and survive, because the damage is not going to be so frequently. Pretty good change. Gash Frenzy, damage reduced by 21%. This is when the Nash like jumps. Like the rogue boss jumps to everyone and leaves a dot, so that dot duration is also reduced now. It's only 15 seconds instead of 45 seconds. So this thing was could only be removed after you got healed to full, I think. So now if your healer is struggling, he can basically just keep everyone alive for 15 seconds and it's fine. It's going to get removed. But while in the past, lasting 45 seconds, if your healer was struggling, you died, you know. So yeah, this is a good change, makes that fight a lot more playable. Brackenhide Hollow is one of the places, if you can do the first boss, you can probably do the rest of the dungeon, you know. Yeah, that first boss was always a check. Anyways, let's go to Algeth'ar Academy now. Okay, in Algeth'ar Academy we have Spellbound Scepter Arcane Rain has been removed, so less like stuff on the ground that's like just falling everywhere, less swirlies, pretty nice. Spectral Invoker Arcane Missiles damage has been reduced by 50%. This is really good because these like lock into one person. Sometimes you pull a bunch of these and they like multiple of those lock into one singular person and they just insta-gib them. So reducing this damage is pretty good, especially annoying this ability on fortified keys. Okay, that's only the only change is that is on trash. Yeah, there's not much annoying trash in this place. It's mostly the casters, you know. It's always the casters. Casters and single target abilities hurt a lot. Anyways, let's go to the encounters. Croth, the bird. The firestorm frequency has been reduced. Okay, that's pretty good. Less AoE damage happening in the group. Savage Peck initial and periodic damage has been reduced. Oh, this is really good because mostly the periodic damage is the thing. The Peck, it hurts the tank, but they can like PR it. The periodic damage was really rough because it's a bleed, and bleeds are like have like weird damage reduction. Like they're not reduced by certain stuff. Okay. After that, Echo of Doragosa Unleashed Energy has been added as a new mythic mechanic. So the last boss now has an extra mechanic, which I don't really know what it is. I haven't read about it, but I guess it's nice to have an extra mechanic on the last boss. There's not much things happening there, you know, unless you mess up the fight and you put a lot of circles on the ground and there's a ton of balls going around, but I guess it's fine like it is, you know. Algeth'ar Academy was always kind of a chill key, even in the first seasons, you know. Okay, now let's go to Neltharus. Okay, so for Neltharus we have each Burning Chain can only be used once, and Burning Chain now stuns all enemies and increases their damage taken by 50% for 5 seconds. So I like this change a lot because I always complained that Neltharus always felt like a gimmick dungeon. You know, you basically weren't playing the dungeon was playing itself, because if you use the chains correctly, those packs would just insta blow up and your damage didn't matter at all. Now you actually have to do damage yourself, you know, which I like. I don't like gimmick dungeons. I never liked, for example, Toldagor and BFA as well, so this is a great change. After that, we got some changes to the encounters. So Chargath, Fiery Focus, pulsing damage near Chargath has been removed. Okay, that's nice. So now there's no longer that circle on him, like that purple circle that anyone that was close to him took damage. Fiery Focus now channels damage on its current target. So that should be the tank. Yeah, so the tank is going to take the brunt of that hit. I guess a bit more healing on the tank is going to be required. After that, Grounding Chain now persists on defeated player. This is a really good change because if someone died in this encounter, the chains disappeared. You couldn't stop the boss when he does his big AoE attack, and everyone died after that, you know, or it was really hard to keep people alive after that happened, you know. If you had immunities, you could make it and maybe like lay on hand someone if you're a paladin, but if it happened there, it was mostly a wipe. So this is a really good chain. At least now you can use the body of your dead friend. The chain is still going to be there, and you can just drag the boss and do the mechanic. Grounding Chain now does a small knockback to the player when applied. So I think this is not a very consequential change because well, we have to judge how strong is the knockback, if it's going to push you into a swirly or something, but I guess it's not going to be pretty important, you know. Let's go to the next one. Warlord Sarha. Curse of the Dragon Horde now stacks. That's the curse, you know, it does a ton of dot damage. Curse of the Dragon Horde duration reduced reduced to 30 seconds. It was 5 minutes. Okay, this is really good. I'm guessing that you still want to bring someone that can dispel curses for this fight, you know. It's not incredibly needed, but it's I guess it's useful still, you know. And the last change is Azure Stone of Might has been removed. Okay, so this is, I think, the one of the items that you pick up from the ground, and this is the one that makes you jump towards the boss. So they removed it. Now all the items that you use are like, you can use them from far away. This is really good because if you got the Stone of Might, you basically had to suicide to remove the boss shield, you know. So this is a great change. It was super troll if you got it. Okay, now let's go to the Nokhud Offensive. Okay, so the first change in Nokhud Offensive is Nokhud Longbow multi-shot has been removed. Rain of Arrows will now be cast less frequently. This is really good because normally you had like 2 of these mobs in a pack and the group was being pelted by consistent damage all the time. A lot of the mobs in these Dragonflight dungeons had so many stuff, you know, so many abilities going on that they were really obnoxious to play it. I'm happy to see that they're removing a lot of the clutter of abilities. After that, we have Nokhud Beastmaster's Hunt Prey damage bonus reduced by 25%. This is really good because I think this guy summons like a bird that just goes to a range player, you know, and just fixates on that guy and just kills him. So this is going to give you a bit more chance to save your range player, stop whatever pet this Beastmaster is sending for them, and you can kill it, you know. Okay, after that we have Nokhud Thunderfist Storm Shock has been removed. This is the big guy that's close to the totems. Before the storm boss, you know, you have to kill totems, and there's a big big centaur guy. So this is one of the kickable abilities this mob had. It's been removed, so one less kick that you have to do. They're always good, you know. Like I said, these mobs has too many abilities, you know. They have too many abilities. Next up, Primalist Stormspeaker Stormbolt has been removed. Another kick, you know. I think this was one of those like really annoying ones that if it went off on a high fortified key, someone just died. So happy to see it go away. Okay, now let's go to the encounter. So there's only one here, it's Balak Arcan. Frequency of storm winds during the intermission has been reduced to every 10 seconds, was every 6 seconds. So in the intermission, the boss does a lot of AoE damage. This is just going to reduce that damage that the group is taking while you're dealing with the mobs, you know, the spawn. You have to interrupt them, kill them, and then he goes out of his intermission phase. Pretty good. I guess the healers are going to be less stressed in that fight as well. Okay, now let's go to Ruby Life Pools. Oh, that place. Okay, so for Ruby Life Pools, we have a change to the Primal Terrasensory Stone Missiles. It has been removed. So this is basically, when you start the dungeon, there's like those stone elementals, not the big stone elemental, you know, the one that you skip at the start, not that one. There's some smaller stone elementals that you pull. Normally there's like 2 of them, and you also pull a bunch of the Primalist around there. And these stone elementals just randomly do swirlies on the ground, you know, like ground swirlies, and they do it a lot, and it was such a high amount of ground clutter that you had to dodge, you know. They also hurt a lot, and they were pretty fast, you know. The missile speed was really fast, and you had to dodge those. So basically you were playing like Dance Dance Revolution. They're trying to dodge all the stuff on the ground that happened on those first pulls. It's nice that this ability is being removed, so you have a bit more freedom on how you move around. After that, we have nerfs to the encounters, well, one nerf to encounters, which is Kriaka. So this is the big red proto-drake at the end, the last boss. Inferno Core's duration has been increased to 4 seconds. This is whenever she spits on someone, you start blowing up. Now it's going to last 4 seconds, but the periodic damage has been reduced by 25%. So you're going to be burning for a bit longer, but the damage is not going to be so spiky, so it gives your healer a bit more time to heal you. You're still going to blow up, you know, and leave a patch on the ground, but you are more likely to survive this ability, because I remember it hurt it a lot. And well, now let's go to the next changes on Uldaman Legacy of Tyr. Okay, so the only change they're going to be doing in Uldaman, of all things, is to the Lost Dwarfs, you know, and it's to the Fiery Surge's ability. Its damage has been reduced by 50%. So yeah, this ability hurts. It's whenever the boat throws a cannonball, everyone in the group takes AoE damage. Yeah, it hurts a lot on tyrannical weeks, but of all things, the Lost Dwarves didn't really need a nerf. There was, I think, more important bosses to nerf in this place. For example, what's it called? The Golem boss was very annoying. They could have reduced some of the AoE damage that we took there, you know. If you didn't have like a master spell to remove the dots, it was very annoying fight. Also, the snake boss also hits like a truck. That bleed is horrible. You still probably are going to need an evoker to deal with that. There was some nerfs that they could have done to Uldaman, but I guess they don't like the Lost Dwarfs. Anyways, guys, that's going to be all the nerfs to the Dragonflight dungeons. One last thing here at the end. The Dawn of the Infinite is still going to be relevant in this patch. It's going to still have a hard mode, and the hard mode is going to reward you with a hero track item. So it's pretty good. If you haven't done the hard mode, it's not too hard to do, and it's going to give you pretty good value. Hero track is decent item level for your troubles, you know, so you have that. And well, guys, I'm pretty happy of these changes. I like that they're removing a lot of the clutter abilities from the mobs in Dragonflight, because let's face it, those mobs had more abilities than certain bosses in past expansions, you know. Yeah, those mobs were super overtuned. Now I think this is going to make it a bit less punishing to do these dungeons. The community has Vietnam flashbacks from these dungeons. I personally have them from Ruby Light Pools. I hated that place so much, but well, now I guess it's going to be a bit more manageable. And well, guys, that's going to be all for the video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video. Thanks for watching, everyone.